Okay, I have 10 o'clock on my watch, and out of deference to all of you who got here on time, we're going to start. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Peter Christian. I'm the general manager of Hilton Head Plantation, and this is our November Uncoffee with Peter. A few introductions. I know Lois Wilkinson is here, our board president. Lori Schmidt, who is our Covenants and Nominating Committee chair. Dave Pollock, our Maintenance Committee chair. Audrey King, Recreation. And am I missing any board members? Oh, John. John Herron, our vice president. And John is doing strategic planning. We're happy to have them all here. Todd Lindstrom, our assistant GM. Warren Gaither, our director of security. Leah Davis, communications. And I know Michelle, who's over in that Dave over there? David Mills, our director of maintenance. And Willette just came in, Covenants. And I think Michelle is still tied up with ARB. And Keith had a little bit of additional surgery, and he is convalescing, so we're hoping he's back on a road to recovery. And Liz Margie Letkowitz is going to be our Vanna White today with our microphone, with activities. Okay. I'm going to go through the handout. I'm not going to stop at every single thing. If you have a question, please just raise your hand. I'll do my best to answer it. Obviously, on the front page of Plantation Living, lo and behold, we were voted, best community by the Island Packet, best gated community by Hilton Head Monthly. A word on home sales. If you look in the back of the handout, I'm kind of going to the end. We thought this year was going to be the worst possible year for home sales, and we were going to really take a hit on budget. And neither of those things came true. In fact, we will do our best year ever probably in home sales and for the capital transfer fee. We are at $451,000 to date. There are at least 60 additional properties in the pipeline that are under contract that will most likely close by the end of the year. If you just take $1,000 a piece, we're going to be well over $500,000 in capital transfer fees. We are down to about 27 or so properties that are on the market. And if you look at the change in the listing price between the September coffee and this coffee, it went from about $750,000 to over $1 million in value. So the values of your properties are going up. People are moving from the north where they have more, and I use this word and I was chastised for it, draconian measures regarding lockdowns, regarding crime, and a multitude of other things, and they figured out that they can work from home. And why work in a high tax area where crime is high and the rents are high when you can move down here into a beautiful spot and work from home? So they're doing that. The other thing that you're doing, as soon as you move in, you're renovating. And those renovations oftentimes are exterior renovations, and some of them are interior renovations. So the exterior renovations drive ARB fees because all of those have to be reviewed. There are 16 new homes presently under construction. The ARB is reviewing 2 more new home applications this morning. So that is also driving fees. So the ARB fees come up, and when you hire a contractor, guess what? They pay a gate fee, and that's drove up gate fees. So we will, if you look at the budget, that was the end of September. We have not closed the books for October yet, but we are running about $179,000 to the good, a budget, which is extraordinary under these circumstances. I talk to my colleagues across the country all the time, and many of my colleagues have not been to their office since June of this year. They've not visited their community. They're totally locked down. We are a rare exception that we continue to operate from the office, obviously on briefed hours, but we continue to do that. And you guys have been great cooperating with us to get all that done. We're going to have a very good year. We spent a little bit of money. The Pine Island, if you've been down to Pine Island, we spent $225,000. The board authorized to put a nice big plug of sand on the beach. That is going to be about $100,000 of that is coming out of the town's pocket. So $125,000 of that is going to be ours. And we put a 6,900 tons, David, of sand on Pine Island, and then groomed it out, and well, hopefully it'll lay down. The other big thing that we're doing, many of you attended the meeting, the Dolphin Head meeting, and we're at the point now where the board has authorized Wooden Partners and Tom Parker, who's the architect, to do some preliminary work, survey work, and then come up with a bid document. And the bid document will be looked at by a subcommittee of the board, probably composed of members of the Rec Committee, Finance Committee, and Maintenance Committee, and they'll ultimately make a recommendation to the entire board on the scope of work and a contractor. Best case scenario for a start date would be maybe June of next year. Anticipate 9 months, best case scenario to complete the project, all the while collecting capital transfer fee funds. The one thing that worries me is that we run out of inventory of homes. We fill up and people decide that we're not going to sell. But we have a certain amount of internal churn. I know there's a waiting list of, I believe, at least a year for the Cypress. But many folks buy a single-family home in the plantation. Their support structure is here. They like it here. They can no longer maintain a single-family home, so they move into a condominium, but they stay within the plantation. And further on in the life, they go into an assisted living facility over at the Cypress. So there's an internal churn that takes place there as well. Dolphin Head Road, if you've looked at it, we waited until all the trucks were finished delivering sand, and they're striping that right now. There was a drainage project on Deerfield Road that has been finally completed. It took a long time. David is going to come back with a recommendation and some paving that we held off on Deerfield Road to get the road to the proper slope and to resurface a part of that was not done last year. One of our signs that you probably didn't even know existed, that was behind Mixon Main and the Charter One offices. Someone lost control of their vehicle. They said they had a coughing fit. It was an SUV, totaled the sign, totaled their car. They all walked away, and we filed with their insurance company to replace that sign that was on the side of the 278 on the westbound lane of 278. I don't know when it's going to be replaced. We've provided that information to the insurance company, and most of you probably have never even noticed that sign was there. It was well hidden, as most signs are on the island. If you look at Leah's advertising revenue, again, we thought that was going to tank this year as well, and we were not going to make budget. She will make budget. We just needed a $10,500 to make the $150,000 budget in advertising for Plantation Living, and we're going to hit that easily. So, we came back very, very strong. Very, very unusual, because we were looking to cut back on many, many things. Your email subscriber list that you guys really like, we're well above 5,000. Website. We'll have a new website that we will launch later in December, probably about mid-December. We're really excited about it. Have a totally different look. It'll be searchable and a lot easier for staff to update. And we believe you're really going to like that. Obviously, I always tell people, because Wiletta's here to pick up after your pet because she is the pet police. Spring Lake Pool, we shut that down for the year. Tennis lessons were way off, and obviously we cut back on daily court fees, but people bought tennis memberships, and tennis memberships are way up. I know David's been out, if you've been out on your bicycle or walking the leisure paths, the directional markings, David has put down some black paint and re-stenciled those things, and we're going to redo the directional signs. We actually ran out of laminated HHP maps, and Leah is having the few remaining ones laminated, and we're going to be replacing those as well. We have new doors. I know some of you will be excited to learn for the POA Service Center. Over at the tennis courts, 2 new sets of doors, both ends of the tennis courts have been replaced. The steps have been replaced, which you knew about already or should have known about. And Keith is going to be putting up new windscreens on the tennis courts, and we're going to be resurfacing 6 tennis courts come January. The 278 Carter Review Project, that is the bridge project, and the causeway coming all the way to 278 is really at a standstill. They've hired an engineering consultant to look at the scope of work, so we're going to be waiting to see what they come up with there. It's kind of in limbo at this point. There's a new stormwater management agreement that we've looked at with the town, and we continue in discussions with them. The Deerfield project and other projects that the town has done for stormwater management, they come under this agreement, and they have done literally millions and millions of dollars of work at the town's expense, which you pay for, by the way, in your stormwater utility fee. So it's not a freebie in any sense of the word. Public schools, as of January 1, unless they change it, they're going to go back to with a 5-day option. Right now, there's a 2-day-a-week option if you want to do face-to-face, but they're going to go back to a 5-day-a-week option for those who want to take advantage of that. Security department, again, I can't say enough about the officers coming to work every day and dealing in close proximity with all manner of folks and keeping themselves and you guys safe. Warren took over, and Vanessa is his right-hand individual, and the 2 of them are just doing a magnificent job keeping the wheels turning. If you probably, many of you don't know where the monopine is off of Deerfield Road, but we're putting some additional plant material around that to screen it. We had a couple of people who voiced concerns about that, and we're accommodated them, and we had some tree mitigation money, and we put that money towards additional plantings around that particular area. The convenience center over off of Dillon Road, how many people take their trash to the dump? Okay, myself included. As of January 1, all of the convenience centers except ours will require a decal and will limit you to twice-a-week visits. They need to do some reconfiguration of the entrance, and the town of Hilton Head is going to do that. So probably won't be until March. You can either pick up a postcard that you need to fill out at the convenience center, or you can go online and fill it out as well. And you just have to be a property owner. You don't have to be a full-time resident or even a part-time resident, just a property owner to qualify. But do fill that out, because we don't want you to get caught short. We won't probably be affected by it until March, but again, do it as soon as you can. I filled mine out about 3 weeks ago, and I have not received a decal yet. You can get a decal, or I believe you can get an app on your phone that'll work as well. Relatively speaking, crime continues to be very low on the property. We're very, very lucky. There's a security report in there on activity. Someone pointed out to me that one of the stats was off. We're aware of that. It's an internal program glitch, and we will fix that. We did purchase a dump truck, a second-hand dump truck to replace our 1994 Ford dump truck. It was well overdue, and the board allowed David to go out and look for a second-hand dump truck, which we located in Tennessee. Picked it up for $30,000. I think we have about $60,000 in change budgeted for that. And we're going to try and use the remaining funds to get a second-hand front-end loader. The reason for the front-end loader, we use our backhoe to load the wood hog. If you've ever dropped off debris at the drop-off center right behind our offices, that backhoe has the engine in the front, and it always gets clogged up with mulch and other debris, and it's a problem. A front-end loader is designed to have the motor in the back, and it's a lot more efficient. So we're going to try and get a second-hand front-end loader to fill that spot. We talked about the homes under construction, and obviously you've seen the ryegrass come up on Whipping Crane Way and Seabrook Drive. We planted it and it rained right on cue. If you came to the Fall Harvest Party, you know we did something totally different. We could not do the hayride. We couldn't do a lot of the programs for the kids. We couldn't do the blow-up things, but we ended up with a pumpkin patch, a trunk or treat, and if your kids were here or grandkids were here, they had a great time. For the fall, we are not going to have Santa inside, but our Brilliant Activities Department has come up with something unique. They have found someone who has a 14-foot inflatable snow globe, and they are going to put Santa inside the snow globe out here in the parking lot with lights in action, so you can bring the grandkids by or the kids by and participate with Santa in the snow globe. We haven't found an agreeable Santa yet to get to the snow globe, so we'll see how that goes. The big band is going to do a concert on December 5th right here. They do a great job. If you attended the one last year that was indoors, they just did an outstanding job, and that'll be out here on December 6th, and I think this December 6th will be the backup date. We will do the holiday light tour. You submit your candidates, and we put a list together, and then you can drive around the plantation and look at all the lights. Obviously, we're not going to do the holiday hayride. That was a bust, unfortunately, and a lot of the gatherings that we usually do this time of year, we're not going to do because of the pandemic, obviously. I think Chrissy's going to do a gingerbread house exhibition, and the train club is going to do something where you can walk by inside. We talked about advertising already. Old Fort Pub. Old Fort Pub is going to be sold. And if you want to keep it the Old Fort Pub, please buy it and keep it the Old Fort Pub. It is zoned for 22 units, and that is by right, which means they do not have to change the zoning on the property. And the developer is proposing exactly that, 22 condominium units on the property. The ARB is actually looking at those preliminary concepts this morning. It will be a 5-story building with parking underneath. The units will be approximately 2,300 square feet. I do not have a price point yet. And it will be condominium, and it will be gated. And it will be called The Charles. And you can go online, and they have a website already up with very limited information on it. Nothing has been approved yet. They are going to propose a separate parking area for Fort Mitchell, and before it was shared parking. So stay tuned, that is going to happen. The Waterway Place project, which is 12 townhomes, which has already been approved. I don't know what they're waiting for, because this is a hot market, and why they're not building right now is beyond me. They have not started yet, and that's at the corner of Santa Maria and Skull Creek Drive. If you want to help Margie and Chrissy and Jen with decorating the Plantation House and the Spring Lake Pavilion, you can do that. Please send in your name. We'd love to help out. There's another blood drive in January, and we already talked about. We haven't talked about alligators. How many new people we have? Brand new people? Welcome. Don't feed the alligators. If you feed the alligators, you're basically giving them a death sentence. So don't feed the alligator. Had several reports of coyotes. We're aware of it, and we will deal with it. But be aware that there are coyotes that are out there now. You live in an area, for folks who are new, where we have bobcats, coyotes, deer, alligators, snakes of every variety, lizards, bugs, you name it, and we have it. And the things that you don't see, no see-ums, are constantly around it. Use common sense when you're around that area. If you think an alligator is aggressive, call security and they will respond, make a determination. Don't let your dog swim in the lagoon. We had a dog just earlier this week, went in a lagoon and drowned, and nothing we could do about it. And the owner, let the dog loose on a golf course. No, it was over at the Headlands Lagoon. I take it back. It was at the Headlands Lagoon between Misty Morning and Headlands Drive, and the dog drowned. So don't let your dog go in the lagoon. Number one, there are alligators in there. Number two, they can get caught up and get into trouble like this dog did. Home sales, you have a copy of the sheet. John Herron, who's a realtor, gave me those stats. We're very grateful for that. And the houses are selling very, very quickly. And oftentimes, before they're even listed on multiple listing, they sell. It's just extraordinary how hot the market is right now. That's all I have directly, and if you have a question, I will do my best to either deflect or answer the question directly. So if you have a question, if you raise your hand, Margie will